I've taken an entire year's worth of biology curriculum and compiled it into 40 video lectures for you. The video series covers every single NGSS life science standard, and it's available exclusively for you on teacherspayteachers.com. Link is in the description. So again, if you or somebody you know would benefit from this, spread the word. This video is long overdue, but I've been keeping quiet as the story has sort of unfolded, but now it's gotten to the point where I feel like I guess it's kind of time to give an update, tell you the story, and let you know what's been going on. This all begins with the leprechaun. Remember the guy that had sand in his vagina? I will try to give a very brief backstory on that if you're not familiar, but I did make these videos with him and about him. So I was live streaming and I told a joke about the potato famine, and he got so unbelievably upset about that, and he was already triggered because he saw my video where I talk about you should pick the man over the bear and all the arguments are dumb and sexist. So he is a psychopathic serial stalker and just a criminal. He sends revenge porn on people he doesn't like. And like I said, he's a cancel culture SJW psychopath. We have all this photographic evidence of him trying to fish for names and addresses of people he wants to try to cancel, who he thinks offended, marginalized, and oppressed groups. We have documented evidences of him searching for names of their spouses, names of their children, where they go to school. Just like depraved, disgusting, crazy, psycho shit. In his attempt to try to cancel me, I talked about this in one of the videos, but he infiltrated my Discord server and tried to look for anything he could. And they weren't able to find anything, so he just lied and invented context about what was like being said in there. Again, I've litigated this in videos before, so I don't need to go over it again. But then things started to change. He did countless videos and all these live streams trying to go after me, and he tried to get me to give him $150, and I refused. So after I refused, then he really stepped it up from there. He continues even to this day doing live streams. I mean, his entire life revolves around me. It's almost cute in a way. And there's like a YouTube channel dedicated to it where they just have a couple of really idiotic videos. But he really stepped up his tactic and the lies. They gathered a bunch of more evidence, and all of the evidence is fake. He literally doctors the images. I put all of not all because there's just too many, but I took a huge number of his like screenshots and claims and sound clips, and I put them in my Discord server. There's a dedicated channel for it. I think it's called Everything Irish is Saying is a Lie. So you can check it out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. There's this one person who he used like a whiteout tool and blocked out their name and just wrote 15-year-old over it. And I don't even remember what was being said. People were just like trolling the person or using curse words or something. But he used that to insinuate that I was letting people bully minors or that I was saying inappropriate things to somebody who was 15 years old. I went through, I did a search in Discord for that person, that user, and every single message they ever sent, I went through it. There was only like 60 of them. At no point did they ever state an age. At no point were they even involved in a conversation about age. Just like literally completely made up. There was this other person who Irish said identified as a minor, and it'd be kind of awkward to explain it. You can go look at the screenshot, but his proof of that is the person typed the number 13, nothing else. They just typed the number 13, and then somebody said, "Are you telling me?" I wasn't involved in this conversation at all, but somebody else said, Are you telling us you're 13? And then they said, I'm 1 year old. I have no birthday. I'm 0 years old. Just an obvious idiotic troll just saying random nothingness. And he took that and used that as evidence that they identified as a minor. What they started doing was they went into other people's Discord servers, and they started just telling anybody and everybody these lies. They went into this one server that has like 5,000 people in it to try to recruit people to his goon squad army. And in doing that, they found people to help participate. What's been happening is people that were in that server have been publishing my address and phone numbers of people in my family on the internet, sending all these creepy, taunting messages, and it's just been completely messed up. They did this in a server for this, he goes by Dean. Dean is an insecure little femboy, and he needs all of us to believe that he has really, really, really big muscles. So he uses just the right lighting and uses it as his profile picture to let us all know that. And he's like a debate guy, politics thing, always trying to be like debating Trumpers and, talking about like there's nothing wrong with being gay, stuff I like support in a vacuum, but he's just an absolute piece of shit. We told him immediately when all this started happening that everything Irish is saying is a lie. We sent him links to that one video I made where I went over like the first sort of series of lies that he was telling. I don't even remember which ones I specifically went over in that YouTube video. And we also showed Dean, we gave him all of the evidence of Irish's past criminal behavior, all the screenshots and messages and voice recordings that I also did in that other YouTube video. And he did absolutely nothing about this the whole time it was going on. Instead, what he actually did, he actually joined in the cancel culture side, and he was in a live stream with Irish, and he said that he hopes I lose my job. I later had a phone call with Dean and some other person who is acting sort of as like the mediator. And this was after all this had been going on for a couple of weeks. And this little chicken shit, what he said was, yeah, I've seen the pushback that other creators have got for supporting and defending you. So even if it was proven to me that you were innocent, I'm not gonna make a statement or correct anything to defend you. The truth just doesn't matter. He's just like I said, a little chicken shit who a lot of creators, the only thing they care about is their brand, right? So they argue for things that, like, again, the stuff he stands for, I support, but he would never tell the truth if he thought it was going to like negatively affect his platform or whatever. But that wasn't even close to the end of it. So Irish and his goon squad, they found out where I worked. And I'm going to tell you, wonderful college prep academy in Delano, California. I don't work there anymore. The school, they put out Zoom links for their school board meetings. They put them online. So Irish had 2 people attend the meeting. I think he was being clever on his behalf to try to avoid getting into trouble or whatever. So he had 2 people attend and spread not all of the lies they've been telling, but just kind of like making like generic statements or whatever. Now, I knew they were going to do this a week in advance because he said it on a YouTube video that somebody saw and they sent it to me. So I contacted the school and I told them who this person is, what they're like, all of the criminal things that they have done, mentioned that multiple people have reported him to the FBI, all the heinous and immoral stuff that he's, said to other people and done. And I mentioned that I can prove demonstrably that everything that he's claiming about me is a lie. So I was told that, okay, well, if anybody shows up to the meeting and just starts making flippant accusations, then they will be told that they are, quote unquote, breaking decorum, and then like their microphone will be turned off and they'll be like disconnected. They won't be able to speak or whatever. That didn't happen. So leading up to that, the same day as the school board meeting, they emailed the superintendent of the school and my principal with just, a long list of the lies. They actually kind of toned it down weirdly and started like saying some things that they really never had mentioned before. So yeah, just a big list of their usual go-to lies. And so school contacted me and said that they're putting me on paid leave while they look into this, just kind of as a protection, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Like from their perspective, maybe they feel like that's kind of what they have to do. But they let those two pieces of shit ramble all of their lies uninterrupted at the school board meeting. So now I'm sitting here in the situation thinking to myself, great. So they let all the lies just get out there and they're said, and now they're in the open, they're public, even though like basically nobody attends school board meetings, especially in the summertime. But I thought that probably was almost worst case scenario, and yeah, turned out to be true. Around a week later, I was called in with HR or whatever, and they just wanted to hear my side of the story. So I showed them all of the evidence that like every single thing that they have claimed and accused me of is a lie. I showed how the images are doctored. I showed how some of the screenshots, like they didn't doctor the image, but they say this is what happened. But you can just look at the image and tell that that's not at all what is going on. But during that meeting, I asked multiple times. I had to ask it so many times, so I framed it in different ways. But basically the gist is the school's view of this, that if somebody makes claims, even if they're horrendous claims, but they have absolutely no evidence for them, that the school is just going to say, well, okay, you're saying that, but you've presented nothing to us, and we have nothing to go on, and so we have no reason to believe you. Essentially, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Or is the school's attitude going to just be, oh, no, these things sound really bad, and so we're just going to separate ourselves from them because as a PR stunt? They would not answer that question at all. So I had to ask it like 3 different ways, because the only thing they said, well, there are 2 things. One was, oh, well, we don't really even have the ability to look into what they were saying because he makes these claims on TikTok and we're not going to go on TikTok and we can't like find the whatever screenshots that supposedly they say they have. They said that, but they also just kept saying over and over again, well, our only concern here is to make sure that we are providing a safe environment for our students. I was like, okay, well, none of this has anything to do with my classroom or anything like that, and all these things are lies. So I don't see how that's relevant, and it doesn't answer my question. So what happened? On July 12th, they let me go, and they came up with the most bullshit, idiotic, made-up reason I've ever heard. They came up with 2 things. One, I violated FERPA. Now, FERPA is like student privacy protection law. It's mostly centered around like you can't release academic information about students to the public. That's essentially what it is. But, it also has to do with like student privacy. So they said, well, Mr. Peterson, one time somebody asked you what your students are working on, and you used the first name of a student. This happened on Discord, and this was one of the things that the Irish and his army brought up, but it was just so unbelievable. Somebody asked me, what are the students working on? And I said, oh, they're balancing equations, and Paul is doing whatever. So they claim that's a violation of FERPA. It absolutely isn't. I've had people that like do audits for that say, no, that does not reach the level of, there's like this weird thing like PL2 or something. There's like this stipulation that it, or a threshold it has to cross. And they're like, that's not even close to that. But I mean, here's how else we know this is complete bullshit. I know for a fact, well, every teacher does this. We know this. But I also know for a fact that people that work there, including administrators, take pictures of students at field trips, of like projects that they did that they're proud of with their names on it, sporting events, rallies. I mean, you name it. And they put it on social media. Teachers do that all the time because it's not an act. I dropped my pen. Because that's not a serious safety or legal concern in any way whatsoever. They know for a fact that people do that. So to say that because I did that, my contract needs to be terminated and that I broke the law, go fuck yourself. They also said that I violated the social media policy for the employee handbook. So what it says about social media is in no way affiliate yourself with the school. So I have on a few occasions, and I just admitted to this because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I had recorded a couple of videos in my classroom during lunch break when there's nobody in there. I would absolutely never. There are a lot. I don't know, maybe you guys see these too. There are like pretty famous TikTok teachers that film like skits and like sometimes not even skits, just like real actual activities going on in their classroom. I've never done that. I never would do that. Anyways, I just owned up to the fact that I had done that before, but I always make sure that I'm not like, you can't tell where I am. I mean, you can see the whiteboard in the background sometimes, but like, that's it. So they said because I did that I also was being let go. Now, basically everything I just said earlier about teachers I know for a fact that work there do the exact same thing, taking pictures at school, in classrooms, on field trips, whatever. Every teacher does that. Like if you imagine it's like your first year teaching and you take a picture of your empty classroom when you get it all set up, it's the day before school and you say, ready to start a new school year. Wonderful College Prep Academy needs to fire you right away. Again, not give you a warning or anything like that. Just be fired. Even if you somehow forgot how to think, it's extremely obvious that they just use those as pretenses to get rid of me. It's a bullshit, idiotic PR stunt. So that was exactly 1 month ago, starting now. And where am I at right now? Nowhere. Currently jobless. I don't know what happens next. In a way, I'm pretty optimistic that it'll open the door for me to be able to do something I enjoy a lot more than teaching. Because I don't know, I like teaching. It's what I want to do. But being a teacher at a school, it just isn't, I don't know. It's kind of like an abusive relationship. It provides all the benefits and security that I need, but you feel like you're getting beat up almost all the time. You know what I would love? I would love to be able to make a living doing this. I'll be 100% transparent with you. That's just simply not possible at this moment. I'm not going to tell you what I make on YouTube, but it was about 1/6 of my monthly salary as a teacher. It's obviously not adequate at all. You probably saw recently, but this is why I created those online courses on Teachers Pay Teachers that people can buy. Although, how on earth do I get that out to people? And I have no idea. And it's also kind of niche. It's just for high school science teachers who happen to use that program, who will only hear about it if they happen to see these videos. That's not very many people. I spent hundreds of hours writing a book, but I'm nobody. I'm the publisher. I am not Penguin Random House. I am not Amazon. And we've sold a good number of books, but I'm not going to make a living on that either. I'm currently writing a second book, and I have no idea how to get that book, out there so it sells tons of copies or anything like that. I do make a pretty good chunk of money on TikTok, but it also fluctuates wildly. It's still, even if I add that, I still really don't even make half of what I need, again, only to break even. I can't sit here and ask you guys to give me anything monetarily because it's just so, it makes me just unbelievably uncomfortable. I don't even like filming the ads that I make for myself. But if anybody has any ideas, if there are any connections or something that anybody can suggest, then I'm all open to it. I would love being a content creator for a living. And I do currently spend several hours a day doing it, but it's not a full-time job. And obviously, if I went into it full-time, that would produce results, but I don't know what the ceiling for that is. If it's just me doing it on my own, I don't know what kind of line of work I could go into where I make the same amount of money as a teacher for a job that requires no experience and no education. Ideally, this would be that. And obviously, I can't expect overnight for it to turn into something 10 times what it currently is. But I don't know, a year from now, I don't know. I'm definitely open to suggestions, so feel free to make any. I didn't make this video to ask you to support me. I made this video to tell the story. It's interesting. I mean, it's about me. This is my channel. But, you know, even if this had turned out good for me, I still would have made the video because this cancel culture bullshit stuff I absolutely can't stand. I'm very much against it. So I would have openly talked about it, even if that were the case. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, would my, I don't know what we call this, my scope, would my channel on the different platforms be where it is today, I would have given that like a 1% chance. So who knows what's going to happen, but without repeating myself too much, not that worried about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting in all the ways you do. Literally just watching, sharing, and being a subscriber does a lot. I'm going to basically keep doing what I have been doing lately. So I wouldn't expect any big changes or anything like that around here. If anything, you might just be seeing more of me. I'll see you tomorrow.